You're listening to Montreal Now with Aaron Rand and Natasha Hall on CJAD 800.
That is James Mennie over at the Montreal Gazette. And Jim, we would be remiss, of course, if we did not talk about the big CAQ convention over the weekend and how François Legault is the most popular, I would say, political leader possibly all time. I want you to hear, I believe we have part of his speech after they flashed his popularity numbers at the convention. Brian?
And I can't deny the fact that you like me right now.
Oh.
You like me.
Okay, my bad, Jim. Wrong clip. I believe we have the actual clip, Brian.
It's not only me, it's a real team, and it's a dream team.
It's a dream team, Jim, a dream team.
Oh, for crying out loud. Listen, first of all, I have to tell you, I was not taken aback by the confidence vote level that he garnered over the weekend. I was taken aback by the fact that having worked with you for so many years and knowing you as someone who never hesitates to find a song to match a situation, that we did not come in with the song 98.6, because that would have been like,
you're right, except it was 98.61, so I used that one. That would have spoiled the whole
come
song.
On.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, all of a sudden you're, okay.
Also, everyone in the audience would not have known that song, although it's a great song by Keith.
I don't know it.
Hey, 98.6. It's nice to have you back again. Keith, I believe.
If you heard it, Natasha, then you would know it, wouldn't you? But anyway, I digress.
Way to go, Aaron.
Listen, guys, it's interesting to hear him describe it as the largest assembly of nationalists as a great team, because I know, he speaks very good English, but he's mixing the word, in his case, team or assembly, with the Russian apparatchik. The fact that 98.6 of the delegates in that convention said they were happy with his leadership is basically a message to the CAQ voters in the, dozen or so ridings in the Quebec City area that, take a hike. You don't like it? This is the leader. We support him. Yes, did he double-cross you over that bridge or that tunnel? Yes, he did. Guess what, folks? We don't care. And indeed, Legault himself was expecting to take a bit of a hit over that, and the fact that they had the recent vote on the pay raises, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen because, people like him. It happened because the delegates love him. They are, and this is it. There is the CAQ and everybody else. But my problem here is with this result, and it's being perceived as this endorsement of what he's been doing, is that we know from the get-go this is a party that doesn't know what it's doing, and now it's going to be doing whatever it wants. It's going to walk away with this number and say, look, the nation is behind us. It was absolute rubbish. But all that said, we have it was kind of heartening, I think, this past weekend to see journalists, particularly from Francophone newsrooms, grilling him on this ongoing train wreck with Simon Jean Barrette and his nomination of judges. It was good to see that they weren't buying into this, let's all march together into a greater future. And I have a sneaking suspicion that when one of the main items on the agenda, the increase in hydroelectric power capacity in Quebec, really comes down to the nuts and bolts, i.e. the dam building, you're going to see way more pushback than François Legault saw this past weekend. I mean, it's great. Clearly, we have confirmation the CAQ is a one-man show. End of story. You do not question the leader. You simply stand up. You applaud. Frankly, the only thing this weekend was missing were a lot of fur hats and some tanks going through Red Square.
Yeah, he's got Kim Jong-un numbers. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
For people who didn't hear it, 98.61%. Those are his approval numbers. And Jim, because Brian found it, here you go for everybody else who might remember this.
Hey, 98.6, it's good to have you back again.
Use that for his theme, I think. There you go. Thank you,
it's going to
Jim.
be his ringtone for a while, I think.
Thank you, Jim.
I liked how you said that this is paves the way for them to just do whatever they want.
Like they haven't?
And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
It could get worse.
No, but here's the thing. Up until now, right, if you criticize them for bungling, which they do on a regular basis, you were either quoting him, for example, talking about Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois, you're an anarchist, you're rabble-rousers, you're causing trouble. But listen, now he can turn around and spin this and say, you're an enemy of the nation if you do this. Clearly, you're out of step with what's going on. I must confess that the PQ, Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, hit the ground running this morning, had a presser, basically stomped all over Jean-Laurent Barrette, said this guy is basically writing his own rules. What I find interesting, and I'm sorry to say, I keep saying this so often, and I wish I didn't have to. I haven't heard word one from the Liberals. If they did do something today, I apologize in advance, but I certainly haven't heard a word out of them over this weekend's convention or what it means to them. But maybe that's just the way, they're playing a very, very long game on the road to oblivion. I just look at this, and I like to think that people outside the bubble, voters in the Quebec City area, and perhaps voters elsewhere are realizing that it doesn't matter. As far as the party is concerned, it is a hermetically sealed fortress, and it doesn't matter what people say or do. Unless, of course, they end up going before a judge and challenging whatever ridiculous policy that they're going to pull out. And trust me, there are going to be a lot more ridiculous policies we'll be talking about in the weeks and months to come.
So I would simply ask you, and I think it's an important thing to mention yet again, these are delegates of the party voting him. And I was going to ask you if you think that, the media and everybody else all over the Quebec City tunnel issue, we saw that first poll come out not that long ago showing he had fallen a few points, or at least the party had. Did we make too much a big deal of that? Or because, again, I want to say these are delegates who voted this, or do you think we did or didn't?
That's the way to look at it. These are party apparatchiks. These are people who realize that they are part of a team, and Coach Legault is the unquestioned authority of that team. And honestly, if you are not on side with that team, I guess you're an opponent. I guess you're an adversary. And it doesn't matter that the opposition in this province is divided. Anybody who's going to pipe up now, the 98.6 will be cited. The popularity, the perceived popularity, but it is kind of funny. It is kind of contradictory, don't you find that they did drop 4 points in the wake of the tunnel double cross, and yet somehow he surpassed his popularity from 2014. Clearly, this has got everything to do with François Legault, everything to do with the Coalition Avenir Québec, and absolutely nothing to do with the people who actually voted for them.
Okay.
That is true. All right. Speaking of voting, it seems like there's a lot of us who are going to be having to vote in the next little while. Evidently, I have a by-election coming up in NDG in June, but there's 4 by-elections, you say, and then a general vote next year?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting, right? Weekend news, and indeed, my old riding, NDG Westmount, by-election to replace Marc Garneau, who left, how can I put it, not under the most cordial of circumstances. Nope. In the wake of Justin Trudeau's basically, acting as François Legault's personal stenographer when it came to Bill 96. However, there are 3 others, 2 of them conservative ridings, one of them a liberal. And right off the bat, I'm sorry, guys, but if you were getting, your agendas ready for a fall election, you can forget about it because it ain't going to happen.
Oh.
You're not going to hold by-elections in June. You're going to have to call an election in the fall. So I would, as I've suspected, next year, absolutely. I think he'll pull the trigger, depending on the numbers. But what's interesting here for our listeners is what's going to happen in NDG. Yeah, it's going to be a coronation. Is it going to be a cakewalk? I'm not entirely sure about that. A lot of people got very angry. A lot of people had tremendous success, still do, for Marc Garneau. And I know Ms. Gainey is a fine person, and she's a bona fide liberal. But all that said, the people in that riding, I think, I won't presume to speak for all of them, but I think a lot of them are fed up of being patronized and told don't worry about things, and being patted on the head and saying, oh, by the way, we need your vote again. Do get out there on June 19th. I think that's going to be an interesting riding to watch. I don't think there'll be an upset, but I would love to see what the final numbers are going to be, because something tells me it won't be 98.6.
Interesting. So you think almost as a protest vote against what the Liberals have been doing federally, people in that riding will simply say, yeah, I'm not so sure, not so fast? You think that's what will happen in NDG?
Guys, I call it Gazette land. You can call it CJAD land. We're hearing from those folks, and they're not happy with what's happening with Bill 96.
Yeah.
Is it a federal issue? It is now that Justin Trudeau has embraced it and allowed it to be inserted like some vaccine into Bill C-13, into the Official Languages Act. I think business people, residents, longtime Liberal supporters will think twice. And I know turnout for by-elections traditionally is low. It may be a whole bunch lower this time around in NDG.
I got to say, I have limited enthusiasm.
Really?
And beyond that, I'll also say it's easier to stomach that kind of behavior, if you will, from someone who has earned that position like Marc Garneau, who's been around for so long and for whatever reason, you're like, okay, we're getting, but he resigned for a good reason, and anyone stepping in, I don't think is going to get the same sort of instant acceptance, and kind of get away with taking us for granted the same way that Marc Garneau.
Oh, absolutely. And, don't be surprised between now and voting day how the nomination process is going to unfold as well. You have to remember that Anthony Housefather, who to a certain degree is now the last man standing when it comes to C-13, was not Justin Trudeau's choice for the riding of Mount Royal. It was Mount Royal who turned around and said, tell your guy to take his parachute off. This is going to be our candidate.
I forgot
Good
that.
point.
I forgot that. Great point.
Well, we shall see. I think once you start finding out who the candidates are, rather than just saying, I'm going to show the Liberals, I'm going to punish them by not voting for whoever that candidate is, I think we're going to find out who's running and then make a decision clearly based just on that. But maybe I'm wrong. Jim, thank you.
Adam.